Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Quantix Hyun versus Uthermal here on Whirlwind. Quantix Hyun doing extremely well at the MLG Spring Championships. Actually coming in, well, I don't want to let you guys know just in case it would be a bit of a spoiler for you guys, but let's just say he did well. Now, anyways, Quantix Hyun spawning on the top left-hand side as the blue Zerg. Meanwhile, we see Uthermal spawning as the green Terran playing under the name Lions Traditional. Don't quite know why he's playing under Lions Traditional, but well, he is. Let's take a look at the strategies here. This will be a TVZ on Whirlwind, and generally maps on Whirlwind do tend to be economically based. Hatchery first, command center first, not out of the picture as the walking distances are quite far. Taking a look, you can see that Hyun is coming down with an overlord, moving out with the second overlord just to do a bit of scouting. And this is really where the players need to make a little bit of a guess on what the other player is trying to do. It looks as though Traditional is going for that Uthermal is going for that traditional barracks refinery, so we may see either an early Reaper or perhaps early Hellions. Hellions would be a good choice on this map. You can get those Hellions across the map extremely quickly. One of the fastest, I believe it is the fastest moving unit in the game that doesn't require an upgrade at 4.25, just slightly faster than a Mutalisk. SCV now on the way out as well. It will be doing some scouting. We should see this barracks complete. Upgrade to an orbital command, supply depot, and a factory with a reactor if my predictions are correct. So far though, it looks as though Hyun is going to be going into a hatchery first, followed up by a spawning pool. He is importantly going for that extractor, and that means that he will have gas for either roaches or metabolic lings. That's a hatchery, Arya. Yeah, it's a hatchery. It's about to grow up and be a building. Alright, yes, I am a father as well, and my daughter is very interested in the Zerg race. Been asking me what this thing is on the map. It's a hatchery. Or it will be a hatchery. See? Pop! It's a hatchery. Okay. She's nodding her head in enjoyment. Yeah, no, this is an overlord. Anyways, SCV now going to be coming in. It takes a look, spots the hatchery first build, spots the spotting pool, notices that there's only one drone on gas. Well, no, this is the hatchery when it's all grown up. As the Zerglings are now going to be pushing away this SCV. SCV most likely will not be able to make it back. The map is very large. The hatchery is right here, Arya. Okay. Now, back over here, SCV is looking to get away. We can see that there is one Marine. Hellions are being trained as we are going into a command center down here at the natural expansion. So far, this SCV looks like he will be able to make a mad rad dash back home in just a moment, as there is one Marine up on the high ground who will be doing a bit of target practice. SCV, yes, returns home and will in fact be able to harvest some additional minerals. Back over here, Zergling now trying to get away. It does get roasted and toasted, but an Overlord is going to get into position from Hyun, being able to scout out this high ground for quite some time. Meanwhile, Hyun, where is he going to be going next as the Hellions are now making their way out? We can see that Uthermal is having a bit of lag issues there as the Hellion is now perhaps making his way over. One Overlord is going to get shot there as the Zergling now going to be able to run in very, very easily and perhaps do a bit of scouting. No, the supply depots come up just in time. The Marine, however, needs to move over and then take down this Zergling. What is going on here? Not very, very smart moves at all. As we now take a look, perhaps there were some workers killed on the other side. No, the Hellions were in the center of the map. So the Zerglings are still wandering around. Hyun with a huge supply advantage. 38 drones compared to 23 SCVs, and this all off of 2 bases. Now, I'm still surprised that Hyun is only sitting on 2 bases at this point. He's at the number where you do, in fact, want to take up a 3rd base. There it is now. It is a little bit, perhaps a little bit late, but not by much, as a group of Zerglings catch one Hellion out of position momentarily. So far, though, that front door will be added by Uthermal, but things do not look good for Uthermal at all. Hyun has a good number of Zerglings, he has good map control, he has good presence, and he may be able to deal with those Hellbats when they come in. Speaking of those Hellbats, there they are now. No starport being trained, no medevacs being trained at the starport, as we are taking a look at the Zerglings just doing some very, very fancy pickup and flying. Medevac does have 2 Hellbats over here off to the right, and Hyun will have to have very, very fast reflexes in order to deal with this medevac. Overlord does spot the medevac here, and now all Uthermal can do is hope that Hyun is not paying attention. Nope, he is. There is the Roach War, and there are some queens, and Uthermal is now backing away. Front door completely, or has been sealed up rather nicely. Zergling's now going to be trying to push their way through as well. You can see that a spine crawler is coming in. And what is going to be happening here? So far, the medevacs looking to really drop somewhere, and it looks like it will perhaps take down a couple of Zerglings. Yeah, some easy torching there, but this is not the investment that Uthermal wanted to do. He knew he needed to get some damage in. This is not the damage that he wanted to do. He wanted to actually do much, much more, and now he may be able to do that inside the main base. Spore Crawler is there, though, so the medevac now trying to fly around. There is also one Spine Crawler coming in. It looks as though drones are now pulling away. Hellbats are relatively slow, as now those Hellbats, oh, do they get a kill off? Trying to bait the units into the Spine Crawler position there, and was able to do exactly that. You can see that Uthermal does have has a supply advantage now, 81 to 69, but Hyun is sitting on a very large bank and still has a bit of an economic advantage. Coming back over here, another Spore Crawler being added. There is a Spine Crawler right there. The medevac pilot doesn't feel comfortable enough to try and drop off any more units. I don't see a Spore Crawler here, though, as the medevac now looking to back off. Now, the window of opportunity for these Hellbat drops have pretty much closed, and pretty much closed relatively quickly, because of the Hellbat drops. Because of those Hellbat drops and the Creep Tumors being able to scout them out, the Hellbats need to have an element of surprise. With so much Creep Tumor, with so much sight coming in, all Uthermal can really hope to do is scanner sweep here, clean up these Creep Tumors, and then perhaps be able to strike while his opponent doesn't know. Roaches, however, very, very fast on creep, even without the Glio Reconstitution, as the Roaches will clean this up rather nicely. Hellbats do fare okay against Roaches, but with superior numbers, which Roaches normally have, they can just overwhelm the number of Hellbats pretty quickly. Creep Tumors being laid down before all of that creep recedes. You can see one Creep Tumor already down there, a second Creep Tumor now being placed down, as the units are now doing the long trip back home. So far, it is 3 bases to 3. Losses are fairly even. Income is fairly even as well, as Hyun does have a slight economic advantage. He is running on 3 bases, but then again, Terran does have mules. And surprisingly, Uthermal doesn't have gas at his natural yet. We are at the 12-minute mark of this game, and that may be the reason why the medevac count is so low. You can see only 3 medevacs, 2 Hellbats here, and a couple of Widow Mines. There hasn't been that much gas collecting at all. But then again, a lot of the units that Hyun has bringing out is mainly in Roaches and Zerglings. Not very gas-intensive units either. Hyun, however, could transition into perhaps some Mutalisk or some other tier 2 play in just a moment. He does have a layer down, as you can indicate by the Zerg melee level 2 attacks, but he is not going for any true tier 2 tech besides Roach speed. Roach is now trying to push back this attack here, but the Marines and the Marauders are going to get into position. There is one Spine Crawler here. Changeling now dropped, as very, very smart to keep that one lone Changeling in with the rest of the group. Scanner Sweep now coming in. You can see, I believe, more attacks now coming in as well. The Changeling obviously not attacking any units, so that is an obvious an obvious a spy in the midst of the group. So far, what's going to be happening here? Roach is now getting torched again. Uthermal having a bit of problems as the Roach is now trying to push their way in. Is it going to be enough? The Roach is now trying to focus down all of these units here, but this is not a good fight at all. 52 to 50 supply, and many workers have been, or actually not many workers have been killed, just the hatchery. So the hatchery now taken down. The Spore Crawler now going to be making its way forward as the Medivacs pick up all of those units. Nicely done, nicely played by Uthermal now, as Uthermal is going to be sitting back and just trying to relax, hoping that his economic advantage by sniping down this hatchery will prove to be successful. One changing off over here made it look like there was a lone marine. Nope, not a lone marine on the minimap, as queens are being placed, or creep tumors are being placed down, and now Hyun re-macroing back up. Oh, he might fall into a false sense of security. If Uthermal thinks that he is significantly ahead, he is sadly mistaken. He is only ahead by about 200 resources, so if he is not careful and pushes too far onto creep, he will simply melt apart. Quad gas now coming in as Uthermal transitioning away from this very heavy marine army, but this heavy marine army may just fall apart anyways if there is, yes, a lot of banelings. We can see over 20 banelings were just hatched. 22 banelings are ready to go. Roaches are now coming in, and there you can have the engagement. Roaches are now coming in as well. What is going to be happening? The banelings, oh, are they going to detonate? Yes, they do find much of their targets there as the banelings now trying to run in here. Roaches taking down many of the marines. Some marines now trying to back off, and Hyun completely overwhelmed his opponent. Zerglings now trying to corral some Widow Mines. Are those Widow Mines going to burrow in time? This has got to be a little bit of a concern there, as the marines are there nearby. You wanted to make sure that those Widow Mines are ready for this wave, this giant push from Hyun. Hyun is moving out with a massive number of roaches with O2 upgrades. Not going to take much damage from these 1-0 Marines at all. And you know what? Decides to just press inside the main, or the natural expansion, instead of the main base, perhaps the main or the third base. The third base is too well defended. We're going to see a bit of an engagement there. Changelings, or excuse me, Overseers, both of them get popped down in just a moment as the Roaches are still trying to push up here. That is not a good engagement at all, but the Roaches have been able to snipe down any sort of reinforcements. Roaches now swarming into the natural expansion, shooting up the ramp here. So much damage dealt. Marines now trying to get over there as a new wave of Zerglings coming in to reinforce, and that is a beautiful composition. Hyun using the Roaches to press on a fight, and then using Zerglings, even though they are just simply sitting in the backfield, to reinforce very quickly. You can see more Zerglings have come in, and there is the game. Uthermal feeling like he had an advantage, but Hyun able to just simply re-macro up, and that is one of the largest strengths of Zerg. Uthermal never did a lot of damage with those Hellbats. You can take a look at the worker kill count, only 4, and I think Uthermal just overestimated his chances, especially since he didn't have that much gas. Not that much gas producing that many Marines for so long. A couple of Baneling hits later, and the entire army was simply melted away. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 1 in this best of 3. Please stay tuned for Game 2.